Welcome to the Autosportradio.com 2020 show. I'm your host, Don Kay, and we are still housed at the Grant King Race Shops in Indianapolis. And since things are opening up, you need to take a ride down here and take a look at this place. It's quite spectacular. A lot of great cars, a lot of good things to look at. And before you come, it might be wise to give them a call to make sure that they will be here. So give them a call, set up a time, and come on down. Bring a group, take a tour of the place. It's phenomenal. Number is 317-820-3595. Call them before you come. They'd love to have you stop by. Today's show is presented by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the NTT IndyCar Series, SVRA, and McGilvery's Pub and Eatery and Speedway. And by the way, McGilvery's is open, currently non-smoking. For those of you who said to me, many people, if they stop smoking, I'll be there. Stop in. You'll love it. What they've done to remodel is spectacular. Founded in 1993 to spearhead Honda's enter into IndyCar racing, Honda Performance Development has overseen successful racing efforts at all levels of the sport, from karting and quarter midgets to IndyCar and prototype sports cars. HPD offers race engine competition products for professional, amateur, and entry-level racers. For more information about HPD and the company's racing products, please visit hpd.honda.com. And I want to give a special thanks to the Speedway Community Television for their technical support and taking care of editing our programs. Do you need a dentist? I know everybody loves to go see a dentist. Well, go to the best one, the Indy Dental Group. Dr. Jack Miller and Dr. Liz Lewis have a phenomenal practice, and you'll love them. I guarantee it. Give them a call, make an appointment. You'll be glad you did. The number is 317-846-6125. And we do have a new computer guy, A-plus affordable computer doctor. Steve Fries is the doctor. Call him, talk to him, tell him your problem, and more likely than not, he'll make house calls. His number is 317-328-0766. And a couple of things that came up on Tuesday was the birthday of Merle Bettenhausen and David Hobbs. David is 81 and Merle, poor guy, is 77. Tomorrow, Thursday, birthdays include Pancho Carter, Genelesi, Sir Jackie Stewart, and Alex Barron. And on Friday, my Tootsie, Sharon, has a birthday, June the 12th. If you are into vintage racing and like the Trans Am, then you want to follow the SVRA. You need to subscribe to their Speed Tour magazine. Let's go to svra.com and subscribe. It's a great magazine, first class, great stories and pictures, and some of the cars and drivers you knew as a kid, they're still on the track, and the drivers are still, some of them are still driving. So check it out, and while you're there, hit the schedule button and see how things are going, where they're going, because the Brickyard Invitational has been canceled, but other races will be picking up here shortly. So check it out, svra.com. And is it time for you to renew the insurance on your car, your house, or your commercial property? Do what many of us have done, and that is go to VP Insurance and talk to Mike Pardee. They're located at 5004 West 16th Street in Speedway. Give them a call. Tell them what you're looking for. I guarantee he'll help you. Number is 317-248-0070. And if you want to know what the guys and gals love about driving Indy cars, why don't you take a ride in a two-seater? Go to indyracingexperience.com and find a date that works. And in the promo box, put DK1 and you get a 50% discount. Or you can call Shonda. Her number is 317-243-7171. And if you have a vintage car or would like one, the Grant King Shop's the place to be. They can restore one if you've got it. And if you're looking for one, they have them. They have connections to get them. So, and if you need engine rebuilt, they can help you with that as well. So give them a call. The Grant King Race Shops at 317-820-3595. My guest today is a gentleman who is the president of the United States Auto Club, and USAC, and like every other series, has had their troubles starting the season. So we're going to find out what's going on and how things are progressing. Please welcome Mr. Kevin Miller. Kevin, thanks for being here.
No problem. Welcome. Love to be here, and welcome to see your face through the internet here on Zoom, like we've been used to doing with everybody else the last 2 months.
What status is the series? You have the three national series, of course, Midget Sprint and Silver Crown. You're involved in off-road racing, and you sanctioned several other events. But how are things for USAC? You've got a couple of races that are going, and in fact, Midget Week starts, I think, Friday.
Well, actually, Midget Week starts next Tuesday, but things have been actually pretty well. We had a couple of false starts, a couple of bumps in the road, some of our plans, but Early on, we put together a good COVID strategy, um, kind of early April, sat back, realized what we were dealing with. Obviously looked at the landscape, thought, man, if we can just get going back June 1st, we can salvage a pretty good season. Coming into COVID, we had an exceptional year going. Everything was just really going well. So COVID put a bump in the road for us. However, our midgets got going Memorial Day weekend back out in Oklahoma at Port City. We raced last weekend in Missouri and Iowa with our sprint cars. So we've got 4 races in our circle track program. Sunday night, Indiana kicks off at 50% capacity on June 14th. So we've done that for a few weeks, and we made a plan to kick off with sprint cars on June 14th, the Sunday night the first night we could, and roll right into midget week, which was postponed 2 weeks, on June 16th, which is Tuesday night, starting at Paragon, and we roll 6 nights in a row for midget week, all the way through Kokomo on Sunday night, the 21st. Everything we've been doing, we've been following some responsible protocols. All of our tickets have been sold online to introduce contactless transactions at the track, and we're happy to say that we're almost at capacity at every track. Every track we limit to 50% capacity. Our ticket sales are on track. All of our entries are sold out. Our ticket sales are on track to hit that peak at every track we go to during midget week. So we're very happy with the progress and where we are with our circle track program.
I saw the list of cars entered for midget week. Good grief, that's a good car count.
Well, we had to cap it at 48 cars, and we hit the limit on every one. So we are sold out of entries for both our national series and each support class for every night. So again, about 90 cars a night that we'll be working with between the national series and our support classes. But we're thrilled at the response, both from our competitors and fans, to get back going here in a few days in Indiana.
How are your sprint car and Silver Crown car counts? I know Silver Crown's been gaining each year a little bit, yeah. Each time. Is it up again this year?
Everything's up. The number of teams that have been following USAC full time has been increasing year after year for the last several years. Silver Crown, we have not had a race yet this year. Everything indicating another banner year for Silver Crown. Even the pavement cars, we have new teams coming out for pavement races. Obviously, with some of the big dirt events grounded in Illinois with the Coin and Springfield, we're still waiting. We believe, I think it was been announced the state fairs have been canceled, and we're trying to understand the landscape of what that means for us. We believe we can still race without the state fair, but we're not positive of that at this point. So we're trying to understand the landscape for Silver Crown. We feel confident we'll get races in, and maybe a couple of surprise races that we'll add to the Silver Crown schedule that people will be pretty fond of if we can get to that point here.
It's a shame that the BC 39 had to be canceled this year, because it has drawn probably some of the biggest midget fields in years.
Well, it's the BC holds the record for the largest car count in USAC history for midget racing. We had 109 cars the first year, and last year we were in the 80s. We would expect about 80 cars again this year. But in all fairness, that's a race for the fans. We're not putting on the largest midget race of the summertime without fans. And the race being it's a temporary dirt track where there's no grandstands or lighting that we would have to bring in. You know, we're about $200,000 in cost just to bring in stands and lighting. So it's not something we can put on without a full crowd. So with a limited capacity or social distancing measures in place, it's just not a feasible race to run. And quite frankly, we don't want to do a race at Indianapolis Motor Speedway that is subpar to the BC 39. That's what that race is known for. So the BC 39 needs to have the fanfare that we've built. And to hold the name BC 39, it's got to be a grand race. And so we thought it was best to put it on pause. We're still evaluating options later in the year, but it's a little bit too early for us to make any determination on that.
How have sponsorships for USAC been? Are your sponsors that you have continuing, and are they happy with what you've done while you were shut down?
That's a great question. So our main sponsors have all held in there. We've had no pushback. In fact, our metrics, our social media metrics are greater than they've ever been, especially through COVID. We put our promotional team into high gear. We produced episodes on our Flow Sports partner called Thunder Relived, which was, it has been a ongoing kind of a rehash of the race. We bring in past race car drivers who experienced great races in the past, and they narrate the race from their perspective 10, 15, 20, 30 years later. That's been a great show, and we play it every week. We also started a 24-hour channel on Flow Sports of our races running around the clock. So what we've seen actually in this period is an uptick in all of our metrics in social media. Our response to Flow Sports has been an increase in viewership. So our sponsors are quite pleased with the response, what we were able to achieve with no racing. So we're pleasantly surprised where we are, and anxiously waiting to put that back to the track with what we feel a more engaged fan base than we've ever had in recent history.
It's amazing. And I've said this 50 times if I've said it once, we're doing this via Zoom, and 2 months ago I never heard of it.
Yeah.
And the same thing with simulated racing, iRacing. What they have done is absolutely spectacular.
Yep.
And IndyCar has drawn good viewers, and your Flow Racing has done well as well. So it's a fill-in, but it's still racing. You get to watch some of the great races that you guys had, 10, 20, 30 years ago, and you can watch them again. I think that's great.
Yeah, we put iRacing in place, but we got a better response on our historical perspective and new narration of old races. And so we've been, even though we're back to racing, Thunder Relived will carry on one episode per week through the end of June. And in fact, we're filming here today. It's been a great experience for our fans, and our viewership on Flow has more than doubled in the last 6 months. So again, we're pleased with the results in our new partnership with Flow Sports.
Well, I think it's great. And of course, having followed many, many, many years of going to short tracks around the country, the fans are dedicated. And I was always excited when I went to one of your events that Dad's bringing the kid along who's 6, 8, 10 years old, because once they get hooked, you got them.
Yeah, we've got some of the greatest racing going on. I mean, if you just some of the midget races that we've been witnessing in the past couple of years, just the show they've been put on has been phenomenal, and we're seeing that in the reaction. Our fan base is growing, our competitor base is growing, all the metrics are ticking up. We're ecstatic with where we are with circle track racing today.
Well, I know a couple of guys that used to race Silver Crown a few years back, and within the last couple of years, they've taken the cars off the shelf, dusted them off, and they're starting running them. I noticed the fields have picked up, which is good, and there's some of the drivers have been sitting on the sideline and not back. Of course, you got to compete with Cody Swanson, who's going for his 5th championship.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys out there. I know in the just recent days, we have the night before the night before the 500 is coming back to Lucas Oil Raceway on August 22nd. It's a sprint car midget doubleheader sanctioned by USAC. We have guys looking for pavement sprint cars, which have been kind of put on the shelf the last few years, but they are dusting them off, and we have guys looking to buy cars right now. I know several Silver Crown pavement cars that were sold in the off season coming back to race. So we're starting to see that trend, which we expected to see, some pavement racing creeping back into our system. We held it with our Silver Crown series for years. We never gave up on pavement. We focused on dirt for our sprint car and midget series, and that's really made those programs healthy. But we're holding on to pavement with our Silver Crown, and we see that an opportunity to come back to some of the races for pavement for sprint cars and midgets in the future. Maybe not like it was, but there's an opportunity that we're looking at.
Well, I think that's good. I've heard a lot of fans say, "Why don't they run the sprint cars on pavement? They're great." And I mean, I'm sure, I don't know the numbers, but there had to be a reason you guys pulled and went to dirt. And the drivers like dirt. There's no question about that. But my question or thing that crosses my mind is if a kid is moving up, he goes to the midgets and he goes to the sprint and maybe gets up to Silver Crown and he wants to go to IndyCar, it's kind of hard to translate. Although in the days of, in the 50s and 60s, the guys that ended up in Indianapolis, that's what they drove. They drove mostly dirt. So it can be done. And you've got some good drivers that need, some that should have been gotten the opportunity but haven't, and it's probably a little late for them. But you've got some drivers coming up that belong at 16th in Georgetown.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent within USAC today. Probably the most competition we've seen in years. The quality of their cars and drivers are just top notch. So I mean, we agree with you, Don. We agree that there needs to be some of those young grassroots guys that make it to the Speedway, and we fully endorse programs that try to align to get them there.
Is the cost of a sprint car or midget car, are you getting them under control? Because I think a midget engine is more expensive than a sprint car engine.
Well, yeah, I mean, it all depends who's paying and what you're buying, but you know, we went through a period of time where midget racing was rumored to be going extinct. We did put some controls in place. We put rev limits in place in 2012, I believe. That did retain a lot of the big OEMs. I know the Toyota and the Mopar engines are still there and in place. Without the RPM limits, they probably wouldn't have been in place. So we did put some limitations of RPM to try and keep costs down. You can't keep racers from spending money to try and win. And I'm not sure the cost savings are really there, but the fact is that we've got a more competitive field of midgets than we've ever had in our history, running each national race. And if just look at the results and the leaderboard and who's on top, and it changes every week. And a few years ago, the domination of the Keith Coombs team was there, and I can't tell you how many races they won in a row. And you don't see that today. They're very, very competitive, and they're always going to be there at dance at the top. But you've got some other teams now, Clausen Marshall team, the Petrie Motorsport teams, and Billy Boat's team. All those teams, any given night, can be at the top of that box. So we've got great competition in midget racing that we haven't had in many years.
I know, back to your comment about, wanting to win, it's always fascinated me that they'll try and do anything you can, cut the revs, whatever it is, to slow the cars down. But these guys figure out how to go faster. That's the name of the game, speed.
Yeah, they got a budget. They're going to spend their budget. I mean, and if we push it in one corner, they're going to go after the other corners. So, I mean, we're trying to do as much as we can to try and keep cost and innovation limited without killing momentum in the sport. So, I mean, we were talking today about Silver Crown cars and sprint cars, and the guys are looking for sprint cars to buy on pavement. And the sprint car, Bob East sprint car, I don't think has changed since 2005. So right. You could go find one and race it today and be just as competitive as getting one off the shelf. So I think that we've done a fairly decent job of keeping momentum in our sport with limited changes.
What other series do you sanction? I think you used to do it. Maybe you still do the Formula One. You do a lot of off-road racing.
Well, we actually, a lot of people don't know this, but not only sanction, we've grown substantially in the last 5 or 6 years. I'll give you a fact that people will probably be shocked when they hear it. But the membership database of USAC today and this year, only 3% of the members are sprint car, midget, and Silver Crown members. That means 97 of our business has changed. The programs that we've introduced in the last 10 years, we have a very, very successful quarter midget program called USAC .25. It's the largest youth motorsport program in the country today. We race, our kids race along NASCAR and IndyCar races all the time. You've probably seen them out at some of the IndyCar races down where the quarter midgets are in the parking lot, and we've got a national championship going on. So that's been a very good program for us. But about 4 years ago, we actually purchased a business called International Snowmobile Racing. It's the largest sanctioning body for snowmobile racing in the country, 140 events and 3,000 snowmobile riders.
Jeez.
And USAC actually owns that program now. We've left it. It's still called International Snowmobile Racing, but we own that program. We also purchased American Rally Association, which is the largest rally racing group in North America. It was Rally America, and the remnants of that is now the American Rally Association, and USAC wholly owns that program. So we own programs. We also sanction Robbie Gordon Super Stadium trucks. We sanction Pirelli World Challenge, or SRO, as you know it today. We sanction a few other groups, a sand drag series. We sanction the Ultra 4 and King of the Hammers series, which King of the Hammers is a very large event in the West Coast. So we do a lot of work here. In fact, it's not ready for prime time, but we'll be announcing in August a new series that we own for 2021 that will probably shake some people and make them look twice at what we announced. So we're excited for a new announcement coming in late August for next year.
Don't you sanction the off-road trucks?
Yeah, we sanction what was Torque is now Midwest Off-Road.
Right, yeah.
We still sanction that. We owned that from 2010 to 2013, and now we sanction those trucks.
Boy, now the big question, and you're getting people, guys, teams coming back in. I'm assuming that your payday has gotten better.
Payday.
Yeah, if you know what when they win the race, they go up to the pay window. That the purses have increased.
You know, what's interesting is if you're talking about Sprint Car and Midget Series, we have been one of the few series in the last 10 years to move our purses north. If you look across the board now, if you go back historically, Silver Crown purses were fairly large in the past.
Right.
We have not moved our purses down. We've actually increased. When I took over here in 2008, every one of the purses were lower than they were today. We've moved them higher. Our standard sprint car races, which were $4,000 to win, $400 to start, are now nationally, and some are $3,000 to win. Every national sprint car race is $5,000 to win, $500 to start the feature. So we've also introduced incentive programs that we didn't have before. So our top 10 teams get free pit passes. Sometimes they get bonus money during the year. So every race, they get some free options, free entry, free pit passes, at every race for our top teams. So we've introduced incentives which help along the way for our teams that we've gotten very good feedback on. So we're taking small baby steps, but at the same time, we haven't really increased our sanction fees with tracks around the country. So we've been able to do a lot of things where we're gaining traction is what we provide to each race. So 10 years ago, we took about 4 people to a racetrack. A race director, a steward, timing and scoring. Today, we're taking about 12 to 13 people to the track, pit reporters, announcers, the camera guys, the social media people. So where we've had to grow and to grow USAC is all in the marketing side. And we're taking a lot of people to the track and paying a lot of people to the track to promote the races during the race, promote upcoming races, to do the broadcast, and to put excitement. And that's where we've had a humongous expense that we've taken on at USAC. That doesn't come from the fans. It doesn't come from the track. It comes from our ability to really work harder to get more exposure and get more dollars for that exposure.
Now, when you took over this job as the president of the United States Auto Club, you lived in Michigan. Does your family live there, or did they all move down here?
Nope, they're still there. I have an apartment here, and when I get home, I still have a home in Michigan some days, but I live actually across the street here in Speedway, my apartment. But I get home enough. I mean, it's a flexible job. With the amount of work we do, most of my work is on the rest of the business, the sanctioning part, the rally series, the off-road stuff, the road racing. We only have 2 employees that work on non-sprint car and midget stuff, and that's myself and Jason Smith. The rest of the group works on our circle track program. So we keep very busy. People don't see me a lot at the dirt tracks because of the volume of business we're doing outside of the dirt track.
Well, you mentioned Jason Smith. I haven't seen him in forever. Does he live in town around here, or has he moved on?
Yep. No, Jason, see, that's the whole thing is Jason's been in a place since I was here. He was my first hire here, but Jason's a race director for, I forgot, Rallycross. We sanction Rallycross too. Jason's a race director for Rallycross. He oversees our rally program. He oversees he's a race director for all Robbie Gordon races here and in Australia. He's the race director for the Race of Champions when it comes in once a year. He's been the Race of Champions race director for FIA the last 2 years. So Jason, on a normal year, Jason's gone about every weekend, but you won't see him at a dirt track race.
And of course, Levi Jones is right at your right-hand side for all the oval track. I assume that's his sole duty.
That's his baby. Yeah. So last year we promoted Levi to the vice president of competition to oversee all circle track. So Levi's, as part of our growth strategy, Levi's our key figure running sprint car, midget, and silver crown. That's his business unit to run. I probably interfere with him a little bit more than he wants me to, but that's really how we need to set things up here. So he's self-sufficient. He's got a business unit to run and be accountable for. We have a separate business unit. Daniel Fry runs our quarter midget program for kids. And then Jason and I run all of the sanctioned and other series. Well,
as far as Levi is, couldn't have a better guy. He spent a lot of time behind the wheel of the car, so he knows his way around, that's for sure.
Yep. We also, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but in the last 2 years, we've put a $2 million renovation in place in our building here in Speedway.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Yeah, and so we couldn't afford to do it for USAC, but this building was 100% controlled by USAC. We own the building, but we rebuilt the building as a co-working workspace. And we now have 17 private offices rented out to other people. We've got, in fact, ACUS FIA is in here. George Steinbrenner has an office in here. VP Fuels, Pirelli Challenge has an office here. So we have private offices for people in motorsports, and that's what's really paying for the building. We also do events here. We have an event center. We've got Al Unser's old Silver Crown car in our basement. We've got not in the basement, in our main lobby. We've got a Wilkie midget in our lobby, and we just inherited one of Johnny Capel's sprint cars from back in the day that's just been restored. So we do events in our open space area. We've had weddings, we've had funerals, baby showers, and the building's really taken on a life of its own here, and it's been pretty successful for us.
Well, I was just getting to the question on that when you brought it up, so you saved me asking it, because it took you a while to get it done, but it looks to me when I went through it as it was going up, you did it right. You didn't cut any corners that I saw.
No, we didn't, and it was scary. I mean, this building was shot. To be honest, 3 years ago, we had no air conditioning, no hot water, no heat. The building was shot, and we either were going to destroy the building. Well, the only thing left of the building is the 4 cinder block outer walls. Everything is brand new that you touch in the building. We put an elevator in place, all new windows, new roof, new floors, everything. But we used the core of the building to create a warehouse type environment. And it's been very, very popular. And we're fortunately, every office we have is sold out, and we have members that come here and work in our open space for co-sharing space. And it's been a great success for us.
Well, it looks good. I haven't been in it since it completely got done. It has been open, but I've been in there as it was making its way to the completion. Well, it sounds like USAC is starting to breathe with deep breaths now instead of kind of huffing a little bit. Things are looking positive. Obviously, you meet with the board a lot, I would assume. Do they have a lot of input as to what you do?
No. To be honest, we have a great board. It's much transition, but we've got executives from General Motors, from Firestone, from privateers that have built their own businesses in internet space. We've got one gentleman that helped basically build PayPal, LinkedIn, Airbnb. We have incredible people on our board. Doug Bowles. Our board is very, very much one that we can turn to for guidance, but quite frankly, they leave me alone, and we all work together and move the ship forward. So.
Well, since you said they leave you alone, that must be until something goes wrong that all of a sudden the phone starts to ring.
So far, it used to ring a lot more. Jeff Stoops, our chairman, and I just had lunch with him today. It used to ring a lot more early on when we went through some of the bumps with, getting rid of the new generation Silver Crown card and going back. We had a lot of frustration as we were transitioning things, and so he would get a lot of phone calls, but he doesn't get phone calls anymore. So
well, that's good.
He's been operating pretty smoothly.
Well, I congratulate you and the board for what, and Jason and Levi for what you guys are doing and put together. The car counts look good. The purse, as you say, has gone up. Guys are looking for pavement sprint cars. That's a good sign. So I think what you're doing is counting is good, and the fans are coming out, and that's the important thing. You do this for fans, and if you got the backing, you're on the right track.
Yeah, we've got, it's really a good team, and at the end of the day, putting together the right team. We have a fun team. We've got a group text that goes on throughout I get text from my group at 1 a.m. and either they're complaining about somebody else or joking about something. But I've got a very, very strong leadership team here, and we are rocking and rolling, and it's the success of USAC.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time. I knew we had to push this back a little bit because you got a call from Jeff and had to have lunch with him, so we moved this back. But I appreciate you taking the time to talk.
No problem.
Keep us up to speed with what USAC's doing and how it's growing. We wish you nothing but the best, and thanks again for spending time with us.
Stop by the building, Don, and appreciate you having me on. Our
guest has been the president of the United States Auto Club, who is building a good program for young kids. As he said, they're starting from the bottom of the quarter midgets and stuff. So USAC is coming back to life to what it used to be in the 50s and 60s. My guest has been the president, Kevin Miller. We have some more guests lined up, so in the days coming, you will be seeing some more of us on the internet. Until that time, this is Don Kay saying, thanks for watching. Till next time, goodbye.